Hey and welcome back. Today I want to simply voice a concern of mine that I have with Aion Classic in the future and see what all of your opinions are. But before that, let's take a look at the current state of Aion Classic in EU. The population of the Atreya server is still good and the server merge with Tabata is also coming very soon. The communication of Gameforge sadly got worse over the last few months, with multiple events having really bad descriptions and them even turning off the global auction house without a prior notice for players. This angered many players, because usually you should expect them to post something important like that 1 week prior to the deactivation, instead of 1 hour after the maintenance already started. That's not all though. Since we only recently had the class change event, and multiple people have reached out to me because a pretty big problem occurred. Some people that changed classes can now use certain stigma skills without having the stigma even equipped. This is a quite significant bug and I am unsure how they want to fix it. I've already reported this to Gameforge, but have not received an answer to it yet. But now let's talk a bit more about the game itself. On this patch, the class balance in Aion is terrible in my opinion. If we take the Wall of Lament dungeon as a DPS comparison, all classes are around 4000 DPS, with the Executor being a bit off with 3300 DPS, same as the Templar, but that is to be expected. Now the one class that is absolutely broken at this point is the Sorcerer. While others are at 4000 DPS, the top Sorcerers are at 6000 DPS. Even ungeared sorcerers can easily outdamage other decently geared classes. This is the reason why sorcerers are 17% of the active characters on the Atreya server. As a comparison, the second highest DPS classes are gladiators and rangers, with each of them representing 8% of the active characters on the Atreya server. The class with the highest number is the cleric, with 19% of the active characters being clerics. This is simply because it is the main healer class and you can always use a cleric to sell different runs and make a lot of money with it. Because most people run Talos, for example, as 2 people, 1 DPS class and 1 cleric. This way they do not have to share their rewards with multiple people. I expect this class imbalance with especially sorcerers and clerics getting even worse as time goes on, as more and more people want to benefit from these very powerful classes. And here we can go to the initial topic I wanted to talk about today. The 4.0 patch in Korea and the dumbing down of classes. Let's take the new dungeon Burning Citadel of the Sacred as an example for the Korean server and the DPS comparison. As you can see, the DPS numbers have drastically increased for all classes, especially in this dungeon. So every class is now at around 15,000 DPS. Except for Templars with 10,000 DPS and Chanters even lower with not even 8,000 DPS. While most classes sit at 15,000 DPS, the Sorcerers once again easily overshadow their numbers, with the top Sorcerers sitting at 20,000 DPS. But we ain't stopping there. Clerics are absolutely broken on this patch. They challenge the DPS of sorcerers, with the top DPS clerics sitting around 18,000 DPS. Yes, you heard it right, the main healer class outdamages all but 2 classes. Now where does the cleric DPS suddenly come from? It is one singular skill, Slashing Wind. It can apparently be spammed, and as you see in this example, it does 90% of the cleric's DPS. So spam one skill and you're good to go. And this is not unique to the cleric class. Let's take a look at the number 1 ranger here. He deals 15,000 DPS and does 96% of his damage with spamming only one skill, no weaving needed at all. This is what I mean with dumbing down the classes, and the difficulty or skill that is required to play classes at a high level. Weaving is simply not required anymore for the top DPS classes. You simply spam one skill and fall asleep whilst killing the boss. And it is the same with the new Luminous class. I've watched many streams and clips of Korean players, and 90% of what they are doing is spamming one skill over and over. The difference with the Luminous class is, however, that she deals even more damage than the other classes. So let me repeat that. Most classes are at 15,000 DPS, Sorcerers and DPS Clerics are close to 20,000 DPS, and the new Luminous class is at over 30,000 DPS. Yeah, she deals more than double the damage of most other classes whilst spamming only one skill over and over again. This is ridiculous. Why would you play something like Assassin where you have to weave on every skill and still are stuck on only 15,000 DPS, while the Luminous class that spams one skill without weaving or anything can reach 30,000 DPS? I have honestly never seen such a class and skill imbalance in any game ever. It shouldn't surprise anyone that the class balance on Korean servers looks like this. On most servers it's around 30 to 35% Luminous, and on this server it is even at 52%. There are actually a lot of players that do complain about this class imbalance, because it makes many other classes basically useless. However, while rumors say something about a fix that makes skills not as spammable anymore, this is firstly only a rumor, and even if it is true, all of us in EU are still far away from this balancing patch. Lastly, the reason why I picked the Burning Citadel of the Sacred as an example for the DPS comparison is that this dungeon will have a rank system. Meaning, if you kill the boss within 7 minutes, you get the S rank with the best drops. So DPS will be a very important part for these future patches. I personally am absolutely no fan of this, and I'm not looking forward to a patch where one class dominates everything and only 2 other classes are acceptable, while the rest of the classes are becoming basically worthless. One thing I am interested in is your opinion on this matter. Do you agree with me that this looks like a bad time for the future patches? Or do you think I might see it a bit too negative? I would love to read your opinions in the comments below. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye!
와, 게임을 진짜 엄청 쉽게 만들어놨다.